Okay, so for the bell ringer, again, it's very, 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 very close, exactly like your test. Okay, that's how you're going to have to answer these questions. I split it up that way for you for a reason, so it was easy for you to tell me what it was, and you didn't have to worry about spelling or anything. So we take a look at here. Hold on, something happened. Go back down. This negative all the way out in front in green means what?
No stretch.
Wait, hold on. One piece at a time, because I know you were right the first time. You were. It is compression, but that's the 1/3. We're just talking about the negative. So the negative means what? Reflecting over the x-axis. So I'm going to circle the yes. So make sure you have that. I just go in order because that's just the way I am. If you go in order the other way, that's fine. Like I was told, 1/3, that was correct. It is a compression. So I'm going to go ahead and circle the compression, and it's by a factor of 1/3, not negative 1/3, 1/3. Questions? I didn't know if there was something going on back there. Okay, translations. Am I moving up or down?
Up.
Up. Very good. That's right there in pink. You have to be able to not have to go in order, because sometimes these are, again, usually we went like left, right, then up, down, but it could be out of order, so be prepared for that. What about left and right? Which way?
Right.
You are going to be going right. Very good. See? Geniuses. And we're going right 2, not negative 2. We're going right 2. If you got all those right, that's a lot of points on your test. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points already. Okay, so if you felt comfortable with that, you should be happy. So that's a big part. Question on the bell ringer.
Yeah, I messed up because it wasn't in the order.
Yes, don't focus on the order, focus on what it's asking. So always look, here are your choices. It says stretch or compress. Okay, I'm going to go here. It says up or down, so I'm going to go all the way to the right. It says left and right, so I'm going to go inside the parentheses. Remember, left and right means inside the parentheses, and reflection is always that negative out in front, if there is one. If there's not a negative, you would circle no. Okay, awesome. Now let's go over the homework. Remember that you did not have to do the charts. You just had to tell me this in yellow and this in yellow. That's all you had to write down for those ones. Do you have questions? Remember, check your answers. I am rolling today. On number 4 or number 5, on just what I highlighted. Give me a second. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Bless you. Okay, all right, then moving down. Okay, 6 through 8 were pretty straightforward. Again, I try to color code things so you know where they're coming from. Okay, this is where I got the reflection. This is where I got the stretching by 2. That way, when you are checking your answers at home, if you are, to see how you're doing, at least you know where I'm getting it from. Try to do that all the time. Questions on 6, 7, or 8? Yes? Is that a question? No? Is there anyone that you were like, I got that one wrong and I'd really like you to explain it? Oh my gosh. Okay, geniuses then. This one was tough. Okay, so just take your time. You always want to write out your vertex formula when you're doing these. Okay, you'll always be given the vertex formula, but if you keep writing it, I promise you you're going to start memorizing it. Okay, when you're looking at this one, if it says reflection, I better have a negative out in front. If it says reflection, I better have that negative out in front. That's why I have a negative. If it says shifting down, I know it's going to be a negative number, and that's why I have this -2 here, all the way on the outside, because the K value is going to be that up and down. Now that H in blue is always inside the parentheses, and then we know we are going to be stretching, so that's going to be all the way out in front. That's where that's coming from. Do you have any questions on the homework? Are you sure? Yes.
Roll the dice.
Yes, I can. I am rolling the dice. I think Abby really wants to roll today. I was just trying to show you where it came from. I put the wrong one in. This one's red, this one's blue. Thanks. Are you sure there's no questions? All right, then let's move on. Okay, we're going to get the big yellow packet out. We don't have much left. It's a challenging day, but it's a short day. Okay, so this content is not the easiest, but it's a short day. Okay. I will say that the reason why we took so much time on solving this year is for this section in particular, at least for this chapter. Okay, so that's why we took such a long time to do one-step equations, two-step equations, multi-step equations, because you're going to have to do that in a minute. And we're going all the way down. We're in 4.5. We don't do 4.4 in here. So we got, I don't even know, I just grabbed some random Pokemon. Does anyone do Pokemon that knows what this one is? Who is it? That's not Pikachu. He's later. He's the only one I know. Yeah. It's really weird, but like that was popular when I was in middle school. But it was like the cards. It was the cards. It was the cards. That's what we had. Did anyone get into that Pokemon Go?
I did for like 2 days. And then I
That was. Then you realized it was too much work. What? Because it's just too much work. You have to like go walk around. Yeah. I was just wondering. Because again, it was popular when I was in middle school, but we had cards. We didn't have technology like that, so. I like just missed the tech age. I'm so happy about it. I'm really happy about it. Okay, your warm up for tickets are letter A and letter B. Describe all transformations performed on these two functions. Well, you just did that on the warm up. You did it on the homework for the past 2 days, so you should be pretty good at it. So I'll give you tickets if you get them correct. One for each. And you have to get them correct. No second chances. So warm up. You're just trying to see what the transformations are. Am I going left? Am I going right? Am I going up? Am I going down? Am I compressing? Am I stretching? If you need a guide, look back in your notes or that bright green sheet of paper that we put in your interactive notebook will also help you. Don't share your answers. Negative means what? For which one? Right here? Does not mean left. Doesn't mean right either. Nope. Good. Come back where you have both. Yep. Chart out, using it as a guide. Are you okay over there? You're missing one.
What's up, Blake?
That's good. That's good. You're missing one. Where's what's the green? That's the negative.
Where'd you get the butterscotch from?
Stretch. Not right. Shine. Let's see.
That's just one picture.
So then the outside is inside. Okay. get you. Okay, let's talk about it. It was like, the first one was like half and half, and then the second one you guys did pretty good with. So if you did not understand it, then you really need to be paying attention, because again, it's not going away. And I cannot stress that enough. I'm not asking you to memorize this stuff. You obviously can, because the more you do it, the more likely you're going to memorize it. But I gave you this bright green sheet for a reason that you put in your interactive notebook. That's the chart. Or you could have looked back in your notes for that chart that was all the way at the top that we filled in. Okay, if you can read that, you're going to be fine, because you're going to be able to use that on the exam. Okay, so this one is where people got a little confused. This means I'm reflecting. Okay, I'm reflecting. And it's over the x-axis. Now, if you didn't put x-axis, I didn't tell you it was wrong, but on the test, I'm going to ask you what axis it is, so make sure you know that. Here's where people missed. This is not going right 3. This would be going right 3, like this, in the parentheses. We don't have that. It's all the way out in front, so we are stretching. So this is a stretch. Again, the only time we are moving left or right is when we're in parentheses. When we're outside of them, we're moving up or we're moving down. So we're going up here. That's it. Questions on that one? Same thing here. Up 7. Again, it's all the way on the outside. There's no parentheses around it. This one in purple is inside. That means I'm going right 6. And then this all the way out in front means compress. Okay? Each piece means something. You can count them. This negative is different. That's 1. The 3 is different. That's 2. The 4 is different. That's 3. I should write 3 things down. That helps you to stay organized. Okay, that was from yesterday and the day before. We are actually going to skip a lot of this because I don't like it anymore. And like I said, I'm editing the notes for next year, so I'm kind of using this as a guide. We're going to cross out all of that.
All of these?
Yep, and we're going to flip the page. It's just exploring. So what that would have been was exploring together, but I don't really want to explore. I feel like we can just cut to the chase because really it's okay. We don't need to explore.
What about these?
Was getting there. We are going to skip these as well.
Every one of them?
Every single thing on this page we're skipping.
Can we just throw away the packet?
Just that piece of paper you can throw away. But you need the warm up, right? Because the warm up helps you. But there's Pikachu. Does anyone know how many points you need to determine a parabola? Just kind of like make an educated guess on what.
4.
Not 4.
3.
3. You were close. You need to have 3 points to make a parabola. 4 you can have, but it's not necessarily have to have 4. You need to have 3. So that's just something to know. That's kind of what we were doing. We were exploring to get this answer, but I don't think you really needed to explore to get it. Okay, please flip to, what's his name? I know it. Was it? Was it? Yes, Charmander, or whatever his name is. Okay. Charizard, something like that. Pikachu, we already passed him. Okay, we're on the next page. Here's what we need to learn. Because application problems. So we need to make sure that we're focused because this is solving. And we're good at solving, but it's you have to just be organized. So please make sure you're paying attention. If you need highlighters, grab them. We're going to create a function given the vertex and a point. So we're given the vertex and we're given a point. Over here to the side, it's worked out for you. So if you ever need to look at an example, you can go ahead and do so. Okay? We are going to plug in the vertex and the point. Pretty straightforward. It's in the title. We're going to plug that in. And we're going to solve for A. Because we don't know the A value, and that's the goal. We want to find the A value when we're doing this. We're given everything else, but we don't have an A value. That's the number all the way out in front that tells you if you're stretching or compressing. All right, here we go. So I'm given a vertex and I'm given a point. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write this out because if I don't, I feel like a lot of you will get lost. A x minus h squared plus k. That's just coming from right here. That's my vertex form. I told you vertex form would be the most important one out of all of them. Wasn't lying. I'm given the vertex. What is 5? What letter?
X.
It's the x value of the vertex. That's correct, but it's actually going to be h. Because in our vertex form, look at h and k is our vertex. Yes, right here. H and k. Hello. That's our vertex. So what is 2? It's going to be k. Yeah. So then 2, can I draw a little arrow? K is going to be 2. Again, they're just letters. I understand that, but h and k represent your vertex in this form. So that's why I'm labeling it like that. Well, and then just giving you a random point. That's why we can't list it as x and y, because a random point would be x and y. So 4 is going to be our x. And what's going to be y? What's our y in this point? 9. So I'm color coding so you can see what I'm about to do. It's a little tedious.
I really don't see a y anywhere. Not on the equation.
This,
So how?
well, what is y? Also. How can you represent y in a different way? What is that thing all the way to the left called?
Vertex.
This is in vertex form. I'll give you that. What are we learning about? Functions. This is a function. This is a function. We talked about that the first 2 days in this unit, that blue packet. This is a function. It's function notation. It represents y. It's the same thing. It's your output value. So y is your f of x and f of x is your y. It's just different ways to write it. Okay? This is a function. If I had y equals, it'd be an equation. They're different. A function, equation. They're different. So we're in function notation, but we can still treat it as y because it's your output value. That was a really good question, to be honest. Okay? So let's plug it in. Here I go. What am I going to plug in for f of x? Because I just told you what it meant. It means function. So what number am I going to plug in? 5, 2, 4, or 9? What'd you say? 9. Very good. Remember, I just told you that y is the function. I just told you that. We're going to leave a alone because we don't know it. We don't. That's the thing we're going to be solving for. I like to set it all up just so I'm ready to go. What did I say x was? 4. Right here. See? Make sure you label them all down because otherwise it gets a little confusing. Remember, vertex is always hk. A point is always just xy. We know that. But the vertex will always, and everything that you do, SAT, anything, college, it will always be hk. It's never going to change. It's just, is minus 5? Yes, it is going to be minus 5. So minus is already in my function, so I'm not going to change it. See that? Like I didn't change it, it's in black. But I'm going to plug in that 5 because that's my h value. What am I going to plug in for k? Yep. Again, the first one that we do is going to be hard. It's going to be confusing, but give yourself a second to understand it. Do you have questions on where any of those numbers came from, and or why we plugged them in the way that we did? I mean, more than happy to explain it. Nope. Awesome then. Okay, now let's get moving on. Our goal then, our next step is to solve. We're solving for a. So that was step 1. Now we're going to solve for a. So here we go. We did this before. That's why we put those days in there to review orders of operation. So I'm going to highlight that. So if you have a highlighter, go ahead and highlight that with me. If you want one, just let us know. We can get you one. In your calculator or in your head, what is 4 minus 5 squared? So you might need a calculator too. So think about it. What is 4 minus 5? And then what's negative 1 squared? 1. Negative 1 squared is negative 1 times negative 1, which is indeed 1. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to plug that in. I'm going to use orange for the ones that we changed. So we're going to put a 1 there because it's 1A now. Yes, you can put the 1 out in front, but I'm just trying to put it in order for now so you can see where it's coming from. I'm going to just bring down that 2. Bringing it down. I didn't do anything with it. I just brought it down. So if it's in black, I didn't do anything with it. I didn't do anything with this one either. Oh, look at that now. We're in a 2-step equation. It's super exciting. And I know Tommy's going to tell us because he just looked up and saw, what to do next. What do you think we're going to do next to solve for A to both sides? Tom.
-2.
Oh, okay, hi. -2, very good. And we have our answer already. What is A equal? 7. Again, it's really not that hard. You're just solving for a variable. It takes you a minute to realize what we're doing, but once you get used to it, it's very easy. All we're doing is solving for A to create a function. We have one last step left, and that's just to rewrite it. Ready? There's one more step. I'm actually going to label this. This was step 1. This was step 2 was to solve. Step 3 is to plug it in. When we plug it into the function, we leave everything alone, like if we were just writing it in vertex form. So f of x is going to stay the same. Now I'm going to take my A value that I just found, plug it back in. There's 7. I'm using this formula right now. This is where I'm at. Help you map out the ideas I'm doing right now. Write out your x. What was my h value again? What did we write here? 5. And what did we write for k? 2. This is my final answer. What you are doing is you're finding the value of the stretching or compressing in order to create a function. If that could be important that you need to do that. Again, the first one you do is going to be tough. I'm not saying this is easy. But it's actually really simple math once you understand what's going on. It took us 2 steps to get to there. It just takes a little bit to process. So let's do it again. But now let's actually talk about it in like a real life situation so maybe you kind of understand it a little bit more. Van McSlugger, so if you like baseball, this is kind of a baseball question, needs 1 more home run to advance to the next round of the home run derby. Okay, so he's Van McSlugger, and he needs 1 more home run to advance to the home run derby. On the last pitch, he takes a swing and makes contact. Initially, he hits the ball 5 feet above the ground. So when he swings, so again, I kind of drew a picture there. If you swing the ball, your bat is not hitting the ground. It's not 0. It's a little bit above it. So we're 5 feet above. Okay? So we're 5 feet above. But I'm going to ask you this question. If we're 5 feet above, did I move at all? Like personally? Like did my body move to first base yet? No. No. So I'm actually going to be at 0.5. Because I didn't move, but my bat is 5 feet above the ground. So I want you to think of it that way. If I'm running, that's going to be my x value because it's left and right. But my bat, however, is going to create that y value. All right. Then it says that at 206 feet from the plate, his ball reached a max height of 70. So I'm going to kind of draw out my little parabola here. So draw that out with me. Because that's how when we hit something, it actually is like a parabola upside down. If you notice that, if you're a sports person, or if you shoot a basketball, that's a parabola too. Okay, if you can actually mathematically find out what the best angle it is for you to shoot a ball at a certain spot, or to hit a ball at a certain spot. Okay, anyways, if I'm at the max height, tell me what my x and what my y is. My max height is 70, and it happens when I'm 206 feet away from the home plate. Which one's x and which one's y?
6 and 70.
There you go. If I'm 70 feet in the air, that's height, right? 70 feet in the air, that's up and down. And then if I'm 206 feet away from the home plate, that's my x value. So good job. So now I have everything that I need. Which one's my vertex? The 0.5 or the 206.70? Which one's my vertex of this parabola? Yeah, so I'm going to kind of draw an arrow here and I'm going to put vertex. Just so that you remember that. And what two letters represent vertex always? Wait, hold on, let me ask one more time. What two letters, you can even look above, always, always, always represent your vertex in math? H and K. Always. Something to always remember. If you ever see on an exam, whether it's with me or in college or anything, if they have H equals this and K equals this, they're talking about the vertex. But they're kind of, this is math language, so it's very universal, across everywhere. If you go to Europe, same thing, doesn't change. That's the best part about math. It's all the same. It's the only language that's the same. It's crazy. Okay, so now we're going to write the function. So that was just kind of cool to see an example, but now let's do one. This is the last one we're doing, and then we're done. So just bear with me. Write a function that represents the height of the ball in terms of the distance. So here we go. I'm going to start labeling it all out. There are 4 things I need. I need my x, I need my y, and I also need my vertex, my h, and I need my k. Those are the 4 things I always need. Always. Well, let's go to one that we already talked about. What's the value of h? H? 206. What's the value of k? 70. Okay, remember we just kind of talked about that right here. The 206 is the x value, your vertex, the 70 is the y. What's your initial point? When I hit the ball, where was I at? 0, 5. That way you have it all mapped out and now you're good. This is the hardest part. This right here. It's finding out what those numbers are. Then I think you're okay because you're just plugging in and solving. So here we go. I'm going to write it out because I like to write it out. My step 1, I'm going to just write out what vertex form is so that I get used to this formula. The more you write it, the more it's going to stick in your brain. I know a lot of you are techie people, and I was too. I still, to this day, if I'm studying for something, have to write it. It's the only way I remember. I can't like type it. That doesn't click for some reason. I have to physically write it. So I'm going to plug it in. So what am I going to plug in for f of x?
7.
I'm going to not plug in 70, sorry. I'm going to plug in 5 because it's my y value. Leave a alone. What's my x value that I wrote? You wrote it all out already. 0. What did I say my h value was? Yep. And then what's k? There you go. Literally all I did was I plugged it in. Y, 5. A, we don't know it. 0 I do because it's my x. H is 206, I plugged it in. K is 70, I plugged it in. Just replacing it, I'm substituting it. Okay, here we go. Use your calculator. I need to know what this is right here that's highlighted. Negative 206 squared. It's a big number. Very big number.
1,000 something? No?
Just need someone with a calculator to help me because I don't use keys, so. There's no way you can do this in your, I mean, you could do it in your head, I guess. It would help if you guys had calculators because I'm just going to sit here until I get it. 206 times 206. 42,000?
42,436.
Okay. Bring down my A value, bring down my 70, and bring down my 5. From this point on, you should be fine because you know how to solve two-step equations. What do I do to solve for A? What do I do to solve for A?
Shouldn't A come before 42,000?
It doesn't matter which way you write it. Honestly, it doesn't matter.
It means the same way,
Mhm.
same thing either way.
It does. It means you're multiplying them together. But how do I get rid of the 70? There you go. Gone. What am I left on the left side of my equation? Negative 65. I'm going to just kind of go off to the side here. Negative 65 equals this big number times A. Well, if I'm timesing A, what do I have to do to get rid of it? divide it. And let me know what decimal you get. Real life situations, most of the problems won't be really pretty answers. They won't. Because real life situations they're not that pretty, to be honest. Let me know what you get for A. So for like the 7 or 8 people that don't have a calculator, I'm not helping you on the test when you ask me how to do this. Because that's what I do. You have to do it with me in order for me to help you. Yes? -0.00153173. Woo! Okay, negative what? Just give me a couple numbers.
0.00153.
That's good. Okay. Again, really weird number. But let's talk about that for a second. For an extra credit, I'm not even, this is a challenging question, see if anyone can get it. Does it make sense that the A value is negative and Y?
No.
Does it make sense that the A value, after what we learned the past 2 days, is negative, and why do you say that what you said? Yes?
Yeah, it's negative because it's upside down.
There you go. Our rear concave down, look at the way I'm hitting the ball. It's going up and then it's coming down, so I'm concave down. So shouldn't it be negative? It's a great way for you to check your answers. Okay? So awesome. I think that's great. Put that in. Awesome. Okay? We're going to stop there. We're not going to plug it back in. I don't think we need to. All right. I'm going to give you your homework, but I want to do one with you. I want to do some, not one of these. I want to do the ones because it's kind of an overall review. What you're getting right now is the first page of what you've done in the past, like this whole chapter to get you ready for the test, which is sometime in the next week and a half. The only thing that it has to do with today is 4 and 5. The rest is previous stuff that you learned. I'm trying to do that for a reason so you don't forget it. So we're going to go over a couple together, or one of them together, and that's it. Then you have the rest of the time. You still have 15 minutes. But I want to do one of them with you. Because it's going to be a challenging one. And you are asked something like this on the exam. For number 2, there are 2 ways you can do it. And you have these options. You can either, one, if you were following along with me in the calculator, put in the calculator and find the vertex. Fine. Or you have to solve for it. You have 2 choices. You just need to figure out which one you're going to do. Are you going to do it by hand, or are you going to plug it in the calculator? You just need to figure out which one it's going to be. Okay? I'm going to do it by hand so that you understand how to do it by hand. And this is going to be in your interactive notebook. It already is. But I'm going to do it by hand with you. But if you want to do it by calculator, that's fine. You're more than welcome to do it. What form is A in? Is it in vertex, standard, or intercept form? Yeah, very good. Standard. The reason why I have you do that, not just to bore you, standard tells me something. The y-intercept, always. The intercepts tell me the intercepts. Vertex form tells me vertex. That's why I have you remember what form it's in so that you know what you can expect to take out of the equation. It wants the vertex. That's hard to do without being in vertex form, but we can figure it out. Remember that this is your A value, this is your B value, and this is your C value. Again, there's 2 options. Plug it in, learn how to use the calculator, which I'd be more than happy to talk about. I already talked about it, but I'll help you when we have the 15 minutes that we have left. Or you're going to have to do it by hand. You have to make that choice, which one you're going to do. So remember, and this is in your interactive notebook already for the test, it's that negative B all over 2A. That's your X value of your vertex. So this is like previous knowledge from last week. I'm making you remember it so that you don't forget it for next week when we take a test. What is the B value? It's always the opposite.
Negative 4x.
Good, and it's always the opposite, so it's just
4x.
just 4. Just a number. We don't want any variables. Then what's 2 times your A value? 2 times your A value. 4, because 2 times 2 is 4. So I'm going to write that out so that you know where that came from. It goes in order, A, B, C. It's pretty easy. Well, what's 4 divided by 4? You got it, I heard it. Someone. 1. You just found the X value of your vertex. That's how simple it is. It's not challenging.
Is that it?
We gotta find our y really quick.
Wait,
Then we're
so
done.
if you do this,
When you find your vertex, you're fine.
how do you know what the vertex is out of all those numbers?
Well, I'll have to tell you that in a second. But if I know 1, how do I find y?
Plug it in.
Yes, thank you. Okay, that's super exciting. All I have to do to find y is to plug it in, and then you're done. So it's really not hard to find the vertex. You just have to remember how to do it. And it's in your interactive notebook. Okay? So the y value is just plugging it in. So I have 2 times 1 squared minus 4 times 1 minus 4. You don't have to write that on the test. You don't. If you know that you have to plug it in, just put in your calculator and plug it in. That's fine. But I write it out for you so that you know where it's coming from in my head. Well, put that in the calculator and let me know what you get. Or try to do it in your head. Let's see. 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Very good. So my vertex is 1, negative 6.
4.
School computer.
I brought it.